Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to singer-songwriter Jeff Black. He's on the road this fall, touring in support of his latest album, B-Sides and Confessions, Volume 2. Stick around. As the doctor said, you might live forever, but you're going to die a little bit before you do.
So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, brought to you by Amazon.com, Audible.com, and 1-800-DIAL-DJs. Please stop by the website, MrMedia.com, click on our advertisers, support the show. And remember, there's more than 1,000 interviews available at MrMedia.com. We've been doing this since February 2007. Hope you'll find something you like. And thanks for listening.
Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience looking for a good story put to music to get their day off to a great start in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. I heard the first song on singer-songwriter Jeff Black's new album, B-Sides and Confessions, Volume 2, and that was all it took. One stanza of the lyrics, in fact, cemented his appearance here, and I know I'm not going to do justice to them, but the good news is you're going to hear him sing it momentarily. But it goes like this. I dropped down to see the doctor. He gave me some strange news. He said, I think you're going to live forever, boy, but you're going to die a little bit before you do. I don't know, that just really spoke to me and opened a gateway into the folk Americana style of Black's music. The good news is that Jeff Black obviously is joining me today to talk music and, even better, to play a couple songs for us. And if you like what you see and hear, you can catch An Evening with Jeff Black on tour this fall in Louisville, Kentucky, Valdosta, Georgia, Gainesville, Florida, and right here in St. Petersburg on Sunday, September 15th at the Palladium. Jeff Black, welcome. It feels like welcome back. Welcome to Mr. Media.
Hello, Bob. All right. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So, Jeff, what's a good word from the road? How's that going?
It's wonderful. I've been getting back on the road, I think, when I was a younger man, and I was running around in the van, and the babies were small. I was gone a lot more, and then in between there, I noticed that they would look a little different when I got home, and I didn't like that very much. So I haven't been traveling that much. But now that they're a little more self-sufficient, they kind of understand what Dad does. It's a little easier to wrangle a couple of days to come out and play some songs.
How old are the kids?
They're 10 and 11.
You want to give them names?
Sure. It's Emerson and Zuzu.
And Zuzu?
Yeah.
Like in Zuzu Belly?
Accidentally, but no, more for her great-grandmother was named Zuma.
Oh, very nice.
And, Emerson's named for his great-grandfather.
All right. And are we seeing any musical talent in these kids at this age?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of music in the house.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if you can see, we were a little early for a basketball game a while back, and we were driving up Gallatin Road in Nashville, and we came across the, I think it's the Jesus Rock God Almighty Church was having a yard sale, and we bought this old Lowry organ there for $25. So we've got everything. There's guitars and harmonicas and accordions and bass clarinets and banjos. So we are trying to kind of live out the humble legacy that is in my family and music. My wife is a wonderful singer as well, and it's just music is a huge part of our lives. And we're really fortunate.
And your dad and grandfather played music?
My great-granddad played a little guitar. My grandmother played piano in church. My dad played a little tenor banjo when he was a boy. And my Uncle Lyle, his brother, of course, he played a little guitar. They used to play little barn dances and little shindigs. People would move the furniture, roll the rugs back, and play when they're young. But I was not privy to any of that in person. I'd only heard about it through stories my dad told. My parents were about 10 years older than everybody else, so they were, I guess, technically a generation of 7 years. So, it was a generation removed, and so when I heard those stories, it was even more romantic to me. So I latched onto that as fast as I could.
I'm guessing, seeing that your kids have that musical interest and you've got several generations before you that did, you must be a believer in the music gene.
Yes, I believe that everyone has it in them. I think it's one of those things that it takes all kinds to make the world go around, and some folks, their gene is to absorb it and process it in a way that people that perform it and play it and create it don't. It's an entirely different talent.
My gene seems to be to talk to people who have talent. I don't know.
Well, stand close to people, I try to stand close to attractive people with talent who I love to associate myself
I'm always
with success, which is why I'm on.
I'm always trying to stand next to attractive people, but I don't know if they have any talent. You've got this new record. You're out there touring on. What do you find? When you first start exposing the music to audiences, do you find that there is music that goes over the way you expected, and music that goes over differently, either for better or for worse?
Well, it is always, I don't know if gamble is the right word, but you are certainly kind of putting yourself out there. It is a little bit of a toss of the dice when you're performing on any given night. It can be very, very different. There's as many different nights as there are people on the planet. And then when you get all those folks together in a room, there's all these different energies. And luckily for me, the kind of music that I write and perform is kind of falls into a category where it's sought out. There's a huge contingency of people that seek out this kind of music, intentional music, singer-songwriters, things that aren't readily available through the pop charts and popular culture. Mm-hmm. And it is so that's a fortunate thing for me and the people like me that are out running around. I think it's to be able to go into a room full of people that are there in support of what you're trying to do. It really helps complete the whole circle. And like we were talking about before, the people listening is an entirely different talent than it is writing, performing, and it is needed as much, if not more, than I think, to complete it. And so it is a beautiful thing when music works, and especially with a new song, and people comment about a new song or want to know if that's on a record. That's always a good feeling, because you write with an audience in your mind. You write with your experiences, that you've got in your pocket, and I think you just know. Sometimes you have to try things. I think even the audience knows if you're trying something, and people are very polite about maybe a song that doesn't. And right, maybe it's not finished, or maybe it just wasn't the night for that song. Because I've had those occasions too, where you play and perform, and then maybe the next night you walk in and you can play the same song, maybe not even perform it as well to a different crowd, and you get an entirely different reaction. So,
have you had songs of yours that have grown over time because they played live, and maybe you feel something from the audience, or you take on an idea, or it just I guess the guy I always think about with that, because he's most famous for it, of course, is Springsteen, and that his songs evolve and change over time. And a lot of people They don't change their songs a bit, but the nature of what you do, I'm thinking there's a lot of opportunity there for a song to evolve and grow.
Yeah, I think they do. I think songs certainly change with you, and I think good songs grow and change with you. And I think that just like we generate all the cells in our body, I think they go with you, and they take on the different meanings in your life, the different episodes. It's the whole, for lack of a better term, the soundtrack. The person that is jogging around the neighborhood with the headphones, they may be listening to a Nick Drake record or an old Guy Clark record or something like that. I kind of doubt it if they're jogging, but they might be listening to that stuff if they're out running around. But it's a whole different scene. We have become people that associate the visual with the music, and that wasn't always the case. I can only speak for myself, and knowing that there was a time when videos rarely existed, and if they did, some of the old movies, I've seen some of those old with the Nat King Cole Trio. I can't remember the name of that movie, but there are a bunch of those. Dinah Washington, and you can even see some of those movies where people would guest star in the middle of a movie with maybe it's an Abbott Costello movie or something like that. And some of those old videos, there's old videos of Jimmy Rogers and those sort of things that were kind of long form. And then before we get into the, I can't remember, kind of the machine gun mentality of boom, 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 as many music videos as you could possibly get that created a channel. Eventually, that all changed, and so I think that's the reason why even my kids listen to, Santa Claus brought by Stevie Wonder and Beatles, and for all things, and it wasn't so much Coldplay and Macklemore. And so it is one of those things that, good songs, they stick around and they change with you. That is a long answer to your question.
All right. Well,
but I think it works.
Well, speaking of good songs, you're going to perform two for us today. The first one is the one I referenced in the introduction. It's All Right Now. I really, really like this song a lot. Can you tell us a little about it before you play? I'm fascinated, of course, by that particular lyric about you're going to die a little bit before you do. I just love that. It's great wordplay.
It's a short study on the now. I think it's a short study on existentialism. Everything is right now. You and I are, even though we are hundreds of miles away, all of this is happening right now. So many things around us right now. I've got this candle burning. My coffee is only half full right now, and so it's one of those things that I've been trying to, as I get a little older, pay more attention to. And being more of a folk singer-songwriter, this may be one of the shortest songs I've ever written, but it's the first thing you hear on the new record, and it's for you, Bob.
All right. Let's hear it, folks.
Took a trip up to Killer City, a little town where I was born. I saw what a life there might have given me. I turned around and hightailed home. It's alright now. It's alright now. It's alright now. It's alright now. I dropped down to see the doctor. He gave me some strange, strange news. He said, I think you're gonna live forever, boy, but you're gonna die a little bit before you do. It's alright now. It's alright now. It's alright now, it's alright now. Yeah. Help me solve a little mystery. Got it right here on the tip of my tongue. Help me solve a little mystery. Remember while we're young. Ain't no futures in the world. Cows out walking in the corn. Every night I go to heaven, babe. Every morning I am reborn. It's alright now. 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 It's alright now.
Yeah. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I really like that song. I really like that song. Now, I got to ask you, interestingly, watching you play, your right hand is actually more active in that song than your left hand. Now, usually, we see the guitarist try to get it, the left hand, if he's, if he's a righty, the left hand is more active. So tell me about the way you're playing with that right hand down there on the main part of the guitar.
I think it would have to just go back to the boom, 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 boom. I think it's like my mom always says, play something kind of peppy. And so usually, especially when you're a solo acoustic guitar player, it is all about being the band. And a lot of times you're the bass player, the drummer, with your right hand. I could give you a promo code too.
Okay.
It's, even though we're sitting here in the studio, the 333 Speakeasy, and it's a dark day, my fine production staff just reminded me that I could offer to your listeners and your followers a free download code if they go to jeffblack.com.
All right.
And enter the code NOW, N-O-W. They can own that song forever and ever and ever.
And they'll
load right into their iTunes, and boom.
And they'll know what good taste I have in music by doing
That's
that.
Right.
That's right.
I'm glad that sometimes you're able to revisit situations like this, because it provides little opportunities to give songs away. Because, like the guy said, if you give it to them, they can't steal it from you.
That's true. Well, okay. So while you brought up your website, let's talk about that for a minute. You were very interactive with your fans on that. You want to talk about that?
Well, I think it's important. I think that I learned it from some great friends of mine, a little acoustic trio called the Floating Men, who were playing around. They had just formed in Nashville when I moved to town, and I had nothing going on. And they said, hey, jump in the van and go with us. And they used to throw these little postcards around to get people's mailing addresses. And I thought, that's a great idea. And that's where that started. And I've never, ever stopped trying to connect with people, letting them know that it's a collective. And if folks, if they like my music, or if they know someone who might like it, it would be great if they'd share it, because that's kind of the way people like me make a living. Mm-hmm. And it is certainly not off of any of the music services that people subscribe to, which is fine. It's a great entertainment source, but I am adamant about sharing my thoughts about that it does not pay the songwriters and the artists what it should be paying. They kind of build these services on their backs, and then they pay fractions of pennies per play, which is actually streams to me equal plays. And so maybe that'll change someday. If not, it doesn't matter, because we're all rebels, and we just we jump around and find the music we want to listen to. And luckily for me, folks, they pull a couple bucks out of their pocket and they buy CDs to come down to the shows and support it that way. I think being in touch with the fans is, that's one of the whys that you even do this, which you try to pay more attention to as you get a little older. It's not so much about being popular or making money. It's so much. It has a lot more to do with why am I even doing this.
Well, let me bring you back though. So you have something on your website called the Tap Room.
Oh, I'm also one of the worst promoters.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm trying to kick the door wide open for you. I got to keep you on focus there. Yes, tell folks about the Tap Room.
At jeffblack.com, we have created this really wonderful interactive place. It's almost like a file sharing, not B2B, but P2P. And it is where there's so many things you can go there on your telephone. And all kinds of things where we've got a place where you can upload. If you cover one of my songs, there's a place where you can share it and people can listen to it. They can't download it from there, but they can listen to it and it streams on there, which pays absolutely nothing. But it's also great to be able to share it. There's a place where we've got all the archives of the old Black Tuesdays podcasts, which have a ton of bootlegs and information about more about like a look into the past, I would probably say, of some of the places I've played, but it has a lot of renditions. We got a couple of awesome Christmas specials on there too that are great to have. Places where we also do some live webcasts for some benefits that we feel like are important. Not feel like that we are involved in. I think it's the SADS.org people, the Sudden Arrhythmia Death Syndrome, AZ-CERT, which has the DTA, which is the drugs to avoid list. If you have the long QT, or if it's a genetically something you're born with, I guess the simple way to put it is if you have a murmur or if you're in a regular heartbeat and those sort of things, there's many drugs to avoid. And we work close with a lot of those folks with Psoriasis Foundation and the World Free from Cancer, things that we believe in. And I think that goes back to the part of why. And it brings it more around to the place where talk about somebody like Springsteen, or not everybody gets to be Springsteen.
No.
Sting or even Woody Guthrie. But what I think we can do is put our egos down for a little while and try to spread the word, because the infusion of the arts, it's healing and it's an important part of our lives. So I'm humbled to be a part of it, and part of that is being able to provide a place where people come. I even had somebody send me an email. It's like, why should I sign up and give you an email? It's like, well, everything's kind of free on here. It's just, if you want to be a part of it, we certainly don't send out things to pester people. It's only, especially if I'm going to be in towns, it's all separated by zip codes, and so I don't send you an email every time somebody drops a hat, but we do send an email to let folks know if they want to be part of something we're doing. So we've got the archives, we've got the announcements about new music, we've got the Black Tuesdays archives, we got Black's Hoot, where you can upload your own covers, and it's a lot of fun. So we try to give away as much as we can, and just invite folks to come in and take. Down right below me is where we got the name for 333. When we were working on this house, there was an old guy that stepped in and was telling a story to the electricians one day about how this used to be a speakeasy below us. And there was a place where the windows built up, but you could tell that it used to be a door. Our house it's about 100 years old, 110. And there used to be a door, but it's a window now. And he goes, oh yeah, that's where people come in and out the back door here, and used to come here, and everybody called it 333. So that's where that story comes from.
Oh, nice.
And so, it's a good little speakeasy to come to, and probably the lowest calorie tap room you're ever going to visit.
Very nice. Now tell me, I don't know actually, when you're touring, are you touring by yourself or do you have a band with you?
I've taken a trio out before. We've gone out with a band. Like when the first record came out, we took a band, and I've gone out and played that way. Now, as a singer-songwriter, there's a great freedom in just me and my little band. And I've even, you hear the guy introduce his band. Here it is. And also, I'll take a banjo with me. I play a little harmonica, and so I just try to go out and tell a story, and I always think about that, sometimes it's an opportunity to, speak for a shy friend,
And when you're on the road doing these gigs, especially if it's just you, either before or after, do you have any time to meet and greet? Do you see people who've come to see you, or are you flying in and flying out?
Well, usually I'm on the road. If I never had to fly in an airplane again, it would be fine with me. But not that I'm afraid. It's just like I can almost get anywhere from Tennessee in the same amount of time it takes to go through all that. But yeah, I'm always visiting. I've got a lot of friends in different towns, and don't stay out as late as we used to many, many, many moons ago. But I love to visit. Sometimes we'll even have a little hootenanny of our own, like after a show, especially some of the private shows.
Mm-hmm.
We get together and talk about songwriting, or people share their songs. It's a cool little gypsy life, and I'm really fortunate to get to experience it. I remember when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to do ever since I was like 9 or 10 years old. And so once I got pretty deep into it, where there was really no turning back, I probably when I felt the most comfortable.
Yeah. Now, the second song you're going to do for us is not on B-Sides and Confessions Volume 2. It's called Rider Coming. Will you be playing this? Are you playing this on the road this fall? You are?
Yeah, playing this one a lot. And I think it's important. I have to, like we were talking about earlier about the exchange and the audiences and songs, whether they go over. And I try to play songs quite a bit before I record them. There's a few sometimes that just there's a sense of urgency that you write them and you play them and you record them as fast as you can, and then you have to go back and learn how to play the song. But a lot of them I do play live quite a bit before they end up on a record. So, and I get those comments a lot in emails and people saying, "Oh, I remember, I heard this in Valdosta, Georgia, 5 or 6 years ago." Even though, but they become brand new songs when they are on the record. And even though some songs even though I've had a couple B-sides records, that moniker or title is really more tongue-in-cheek than anything else.
I understand. Anything you want people to know about Rider Coming before we ask you to play?
I think it certainly has its own little Irish disposition of falling into a minor key, but it's a positive song about not settling.
All right.
Candlelight, riddle dancing, wind is blowing hard as hell, sheets are raining, lightning flashing, they don't worry, faith, be well. Time will never leave you lonely, it'll be there till bitter end. Love and money won't make you happy. Best to seal those letters you send. Rider coming down a long dark road, all packed up and journey proud to get home. Save yourself, save your breath, save your soul, never be satisfied. Water's over Old Kings Highway. Rivers crested the banks again. This ain't no night for a weary traveler. Mission bell, I can hear it ringing. Rider coming down a long dark road, all packed up and journey proud to get home. Save yourself, say your prayers, save your soul, and never be satisfied. Never be satisfied.
All right. I'm sorry. I wish I had 3,000 people applauding behind me. I wish I could juice that up, but that's a sincere appreciation from me.
It's a comfortable place to play. We do these shows here, and I've done a couple where there's no audience, so I'm grateful that that you're sitting right there.
Oh, I'm enjoying it. That's the best thing about this show. I think one is that I get these private performance moments, but also we get to see someone like yourself in a comfortable atmosphere where you're relaxed and no pressure. You control it all. It's very nice.
I feel much more comfortable forgetting the words here than I do.
Good. Because I'm afflicted with that all the time, and I sometimes I actually have words written down in front of me, but it doesn't always help. So, Jeff, before we kind of wind down, what would you be doing if you were not making music? What would your life be?
Well, it would have to be somewhere. I'd have to be creating something. I believe that I would maybe building furniture or pouring concrete. A lot of traveling in my blood. I come from a long line of truck drivers, so who knows? I may be a truck driver. My brother's a truck driver, and it could be that. But I do dabble in a little cobbled up woodwork, that sort of thing. It's kind of hard to say. I've always been so focused on this gypsy life and playing and singing. It's almost impossible to imagine doing anything else.
Very nice. Well, you will be on the road for the next couple months. You've got, I think I mentioned Valdosta, Georgia, Gainesville, Florida, home of the University of Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, this Sunday, September 15th, at the Palladium, visiting with our good friends there. I want to let people know that you've got this new album out, B-Sides and Confessions, Volume 2.
Yes. I've had a couple come out pretty quick. Plot for the Mystic came out last year, and then this past year, B-Sides came out, and they were both brought to you by my little community, the Blacklist, and it's folks that are they're part of the creative process. There's different levels of participation. It does not emulate a Kickstarter process in any way. We don't really advocate the third-party crowdsourcing because it goes to help build a corporation, and all this money goes to make the records and manufacture and the design and everything that's involved in actually all those resources that actually come together to create the vehicle to deliver all that. So that's on the website too. So always invite people to come and check that out. And we've been doing some stuff where it is just a little bit of more of a ticket price, and it's kind of the traveler level. They were doing some different events in Kansas City in November on the 30th at Knuckleheads, which is a great venue up there. Frank Hicks and everybody up there is wonderful. They have wonderful singer-songwriters and bands of all kinds come through and play. And we're doing an event up there, and we may do a few more before all that. I'm doing a private show. Somebody became a muse, which is a wonderful group up there. It's supposed to be surprise birthday party. And so that happens in April, up in somewhere in Missouri. I'll just say that, outside of St. Louis. Is that secret?
That's
And so beyond that, I'm a fortunate man. I'm very, very lucky. And and I'll be back down in your neighborhood, fairly close to your neighborhood, for the 38 Songwriter Festival in January. So 38songwriters.com, I think, is the address for there. So, and that's great up around the Panhandle.
Yep. So. All right. Well, listen, Jeff, pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for playing the songs. Love the music. Encourage everybody to come out and see you on tour this fall and buy the album. And Jeff Black, thanks so much for being a guest on Mr. Media today.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the music.
You can see and hear almost 1,000 Mr. Media interviews by visiting our main site, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. Or check out the more than 200 video interviews on the Mr. Media radio site on YouTube. And I'd sure appreciate if you'd show some love for Mr. Media's advertisers, including Stitcher. Apple named Stitcher a top 5 news app of 2011. It's a free mobile app for your smartphone or tablet that lets you listen to your favorite shows and discover the best of news, entertainment, and sports on demand. You can listen whenever you want to more than 5,000 shows, get customized recommendations, and discover what your friends are listening to. My own list of Stitcher favorites is pretty eclectic. I start my day with an hour of MSNBC's Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. Then it's the latest 2-minute update from the Onion News Network. After that, I'll listen to WTF with Mark Maron, Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin, HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, and excerpts from E's Chelsea Lately and The Soup with Joel McHale. Also in regular rotation on my Stitcher playlist, The BS Report with ESPN's Bill Simmons, the TechCrunch headlines, and The Don Geronimo Show. The latest episodes of each show, whether originating from broadcasts, cable TV, radio syndication, or podcasts, are continuously updated. Stitcher is a free app for your iPhone, iPad, Kindle, Fire, BlackBerry, Droid, and more. And show your support of Mr. Media by getting, did I mention it's free? The app at stitcher.com/MrMedia. That's stitcher.com/MRmedia. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. We're also supported by Audible. Check out Audible's 30-day trial membership and download the audiobook version of the book everyone's been talking about, 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. Sign up for your free trial today at audible.com/radio. Again, audibletrial.com/radio. And finally, if you need a disc jockey for a wedding, bar mitzvah, corporate event, or just a big old party, please consider calling 1-800-DIAL-DJs, the party authority for all your party entertainment needs. You can call 1-800-DIAL-DJs or go to their website, 1-800-DIAL-DJs.com, and tell them Mr. Media sent you. And thanks for listening.
This is Aaron Rose, and you're tuning in to Mr. Media. knows and you're tuning in to Mr. Media. Don't grab the dial, don't change your tune. He's the coolest guy since. I don't have an ending for that.
Yesterday afternoon.
Since yesterday afternoon.